In a world of limitless opportunities and countless challenges, the choices we make manifest themselves into the very roads that guide us. And the tribulations and triumphs that shape, weather, and bind these paths together are the very essence of what makes the world such a beautifully strange place. But we walk our path with no map, in search of answers that nobody has, simply hoping that we don't get lost along the way. So maybe just sharing our story of where we come from and the things that have guided us along the way can be enough to guide those lost in their own path.
I'm Zach Bonanza, and this is the Lost Guidance Podcast. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 2. We got a 2 for today of the Lost Guidance Podcast. I'm joined in studio with Quinn and Ben Coniguliaro. How you guys doing?
Good, man. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much for coming in. It's a beautiful day.
Hell yeah, man. Glad to be here.
Go ahead and introduce yourselves a little bit. Obviously, today the topic of conversation for us is going to be music and art, and obviously those things go hand in hand usually, but you guys have a kind of unique experience being brothers and all that together. So go ahead and give a little bit of description of
Absolutely, man. Yeah,
background.
I mean, my name is Quinn Coniguliaro, so my brother Ben Coniguliaro, and for us, music and art goes way back. It was kind of an early inspiration. I mean, there's photos of us when we were really young, like him, 3 years old, with like headphones on, all fascinated.
I mean, I remember hanging out with you real young, and he was, I mean, yeah. How old are you now? 19. You must have been like, maybe 7 at the time, and jamming on the drums.
Yeah, man, because from when he was like 3 or 4, he's been playing. So
wow.
For us, it's been fluid. You know, our dad was hugely, into the scene, and he had a lot of different gig experience as we were growing up. So, like, it was nothing. It was second nature.
You were born into it, yeah.
Yeah, music. Same with art, man. He was all about it. We had a very creative family, I think, overall.
That's awesome. And now you guys are both members of a few different bands. Why don't you go ahead, Ben, and kind of explain the bands and a little bit of the genre that you're encompassing.
Yeah, so right now what we're working on, and you can show the CD and the sticker, but
yeah, sure.
One of our biggest projects right now is called Sun Colored Chair, and that's me and him with the guitarist of this band, Trampoline Jetstream. His name's Alex Verbickus, and this is our project with him. We're getting gigs around the area, out of state a little bit and stuff. This is our debut album. We just put it out. It's on all streaming services. And you could buy the CD off Bandcamp. Comes with nice stickers and things like that. But yeah, no. So stylistically, it's all over the place. It's really, we take from such a wide range of inspirations and stuff. Even with Alex too, we all come from kind of different musical backgrounds. So
right.
Incorporating all these different influences. It's very like, sometimes it's, let's say, very like densely composed. I guess if you want to say, genre-matically, it's kind of like progressive in a way. It presents a lot on a musical palette, but I don't know. It's definitely, there's a good variety within the music.
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that definitely goes back to how we were raised. Like I said, we exposed to so much good.
A bit of an amalgamation of everything in your past.
Huge variety, yeah.
That's awesome. I actually heard one person describe it as a math rock group. Could you explain what that means?
Yeah, okay. Well, math rock is a term that is pretty, it's like not the most commonly used, but in certain scenes it definitely is. What it is, it's music that's composed and comprised of like a lot of different odd time signatures and certain rhythmic techniques and stuff that, like, for us when we were first making music, we had no idea what that stuff was. So like math rock,
I know, it caught my attention.
Are you in math class and you're rocking out like
algebra?
School of rock? Yeah. No, but so it pretty much, it's just like complex shit. I'm sorry to say, but
it's a vibe.
No, it is. But
so it's kind of got that like psychedelic transitional jamming feel to it.
For me, musically, I like music that keeps me on my toes.
Right.
If I'm listening to something that I'm like, I can predict maybe what the next hook or whatever is going to be. I love that too. It has its place, but
I think ultimately it could be like a very sporadic and unpredictable. I think that's the best way to put it. Keep you on your toes a lot. Yeah. But there's also really like mellow moments too, and really beautiful, because that's the other thing. Because there's like, it's almost like there's two sides of this like so-called math rock. It's like there's a really dark, almost like, oh, you get heavy riffing and stuff like that,
right.
And then there's like the really happy melodic kind of like higher register guitar riffs and stuff like that, and we try to meld all that stuff together.
It kind of keeps you guessing. Yeah, that's awesome. So, all right, so that's Sun Colored Chair, and then you're in a few other groups. Go ahead and describe those a little bit for me.
One of the projects, because I was going to say, when he said the darker side of math rock, I said just in time for Halloween, right?
Yeah.
That side of things, it's kind of the heavier side that we've always been influenced by, that sort of sound in a way. And so one of those projects is called Wix's, which is the
YXZ.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was, but it's cool that you
Yeah,
made it its own.
It has its own kind of name to it. And
Yeah.
funny enough, because that was just something we started. It's like a duo thing. We recorded like all the parts together. Some of it live, just bass and drum duo. A lot of it though, it'll be like Ben will do these crazy, intense drum improvs, and we'll just write stuff over that. So like when you're writing it and you're listening back, you're like, oh, I couldn't even imagine that it would be built this way.
Wow.
You know? So it's really kind of out there too in terms of a sound. That's one of the weirder ones, but funny.
One thing I would definitely bring up though is and we used to play around here a lot with our band Substance. That's the project that we have with our dad.
Right.
It's that's a very like totally kind of like funky and like kind of almost like jammy kind of aesthetic going on. But yeah, no, and there's a sticker for it. Really, you know, we've been doing that the longest. We got to like kind of pay our respects to our dad because that's how we got our start.
That's awesome that you guys are doing this as a family too. You know, like having brothers in the band and all these different kind of projects that you're working on, but then also incorporating your father, who was such a big influence on you.
That's how we start. We've been going the longest for this project, like 7 years now.
That's awesome, man.
I was gonna say definitely respect to that project because that's been our live experience a lot of time. We played a lot of the shows around this area.
Yeah.
We played like Woods Fest. I know that's going on right now. They have the Harvest Fest going on.
Right.
And we
over at Woods Valley. It was like the second one, right?
We played up there. Yeah, that
That's
was a lot
awesome.
of fun. We played a lot of gigs with that band over the years, and we like learned how to be a live band. I think we learned kind of
right.
Yeah, overall.
And it kind of helped having your dad show you the ropes. I can imagine.
And
you know,
we have to pay all our respect to him. He showed us a lot of the techniques we know. I mean, we're both self-taught, but if it wasn't for his influence, we wouldn't be what we are, you know?
Yeah, that's tremendous,
yeah, definitely.
Man.
So we did a lot of that stuff with him, and then recently we've each kind of been branching off doing our own thing. So now we got the Sun Colored Chair project going on, and he's been doing acoustic shows and getting out-of-state gigs and stuff. So
awesome, man.
It's cool how we're, kind of go in and out, striving musically in different ways and stuff.
That, and you're also taking, like, each one of these projects is a different influence from yourself.
Definitely.
And you got all these different paths, your finger in a different paint
Pretty
bucket
much.
all over, and you'll never know what's going to blow up or
you always
what
catch
scene you go
different
to.
people's attention a lot of the time. I think that's what I find is having different projects that are different stylistically, you catch different people's attention.
Yeah, absolutely. And you get
a wide variety.
And that's kind of one thing that I enjoy about doing this podcast with a broad spectrum of guests.
Yeah,
is you're getting everybody, and you never know when someone's going to listen and be like, "Oh, I wasn't even interested in motocross or whatever." One of my past guests has talked about, or having Z on, getting them into the Disruption Network. It's like you transition these people. It's a great segue too into your other music.
Everybody's different too, so like that's a great way to relate to a lot of different people.
Right, and whoever listens to maybe Sun Colored Chair and likes your music and finds your other music and likes that, somebody who I have a quantity of taste, so there's a good chance that they'll fall in love with all your different stuff. So that's pretty cool.
For us, it was never one kind of music or one style of art. It was always like experience as much as you can.
Yeah.
So I think we're very lucky that we get to now kind of spread that inspiration through these different projects to different types of people.
That's awesome, man. And going back to this killer cover art, I mean, I'll post some pictures of this for you guys later, but it's just like really like soaks you in. You're looking at every little aspect of it. This is original work. And Quinn, I know you're a huge contributor to this. I mean, you make this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So talk a little bit about your inspiration. Do you find your music's inspiring your art? Did the art help inspire the music?
Well, you said it the best when we started. You said music and art go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Because they definitely do. You know,
for sure.
Those things, I think, make each other stronger when they're in the same environment. So that was always natural for me. Like, making art was what I was doing. So, why not incorporate that with music? So, yeah, I think they do inspire each other at different times. But for me, it was always like, oh, man, I want to see a band that has, like, cool, weird, unique design that's going to bring me in. And I always love investing in other artists in the area. There's so many cool people we meet over time.
That's it. And for people who don't know, you did work for Trampoline Jetstream, Annie in the Water, who I had the privilege of seeing at Lucan's last year. Tremendous band. A lot of these really kind of fun, upbeat bands that you guys are seeing out there. You might catch some of their cover art and be like, wow, that's really kind of absorbing, really interesting stuff.
Yeah.
You can thank Mr. Quinn here.
Definitely a big shout out, though, to the guys from Trampoline Jetstream. They're great friends.
Yeah.
They're wonderful people, and their band is definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, for sure.
They've strengthened their sound over the years. They've evolved, and they've become such a beautiful thing. The experience of them live, I think, should not be missed. It's a beautiful thing.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, eventually, if it's ever possible, you got to. I know what he'd love to do, but you got to get Adam Mannion on here.
Well, you hear that, Adam? You're coming on the Lost Guidance podcast, buddy.
You're getting on here, Chaz. All of them, though. Nick, Trent, Alex, and Adam. I got to give them all a shout out.
That's awesome, man. You got to respect the people that kind of inspire you, especially in a local way, show you that it's possible to do and give you that motivation to go on. You know, that's awesome.
Yes.
So I just want to talk about this artwork. So did you find did you guys come together and create the Sun Color Chair project basically, and then do the artwork, or did you have this crazy concept and like this is the way our music should go? Or at one point did you realize the funkadelicness that you bring to the music was going to be in the artwork? Is what I'm asking.
Well, I guess specifically for this band, I would say, kind of segueing it from the Trampoline Jetstream guys, Alex being a huge inspiration to us. When we started writing music, there was definitely a creative energy floating in the air for all of us, and I think in that period of time I was doing different ideas, and there was a day where I was just kind of collaging. That's what's cool about this, is it's totally a collage.
Yeah, it is. You got the people with the hands.
And it's funny because the person on this is actually Alex. That's his body.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's his hand.
That's cool.
Holding like a tarot card. So because we were getting into like reading tarot decks and stuff. So that was really interesting. That's all just a collage. And then this chair is the chair, the sun.
That's the Sun Color Chair.
Which is kind of a funny
It inspired
story.
you. Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, it is modeled after a real story.
Let's hear
It
it.
was kind of a collaborative thing. We'll both tell it in a way.
I think we were all just were we writing something or whenever? Like Alex was coming over a lot when we first started hanging out, and yeah, it's like the way the sunlight was coming in specifically on this like wicker chair that we had for years, but it was a specific.
It was such a specific moment because we were all just writing.
Yeah.
And at one moment we looked up and we were like, it was like a sigh of relief from whatever we were really working on, and then we all looked and we're like looking at each other like, are you seeing this?
Almost
like,
the symbolicness of it.
The way the sun came in and like kind of lit the chair up, it was like glowing in a way.
Wow.
And we're like,
and it was like a unifying moment.
In that moment, we didn't know it was going to be the band name.
That's awesome.
We just kind of laughed and joked like, sun colored chair, that's funny.
Yeah.
And as time went on, we're like, that's got to be it.
Isn't it funny how just those words put together and it made such a visceral feeling in you? You're like, whoa, we got something here. I felt the same way coming up with Lost Guidance here. It's like I was coming up, I wanted something catchy no one had before. It didn't want to be generic like Central New York Podcast or something stupid like that.
I really respect that because what you got going on here is smooth and it looks good.
I appreciate that so much, bro, because I put a lot of time into and money into making sure I have good equipment. My guests are involved and feel like they're welcome here. And
we do feel welcome. And keep it up all the time because I think that you need that underlining element of the pride of the people around you, the people you care about, And I know we go way back
for
too,
sure, dude. Yeah, hanging back,
and,
what, 5th grade, I think you came to Sequoia area, man. I remember that.
And it's just, I think it's a beautiful thing how people evolve and where to see, like, seeing where everybody goes.
I know.
Isn't
and,
wild?
We kind of separated for a few years, as people do after high school and all that. But like I was telling them before the show started, I'm stumbling along Facebook. You get your suggestions. Who's a friend? I see Quinn, his cover art is just crazy cool. It's like the astronaut floating with the rainbow behind him or whatever. And I'm like, man, that's really cool. I go onto it, find out he's making the art, find out he's in all these band projects, find out it's a family thing. You got your dad in one project, your brother in the others, drummer, bassist. I mean, it's all the elements that I love in the area. And that's what being in the area is about. You're in Central New York. You're not in NYC. You're not in Chicago. You're not you're not going down to Sunset Boulevard and trying to make it big into some club. You're working hard. You're grinding it out, doing good work you enjoy, and that's what it's about, and sharing that story. And that's why I want to give people like you guys a platform to share that story.
Dude, and we love coming back here and playing because people here are usually very welcoming. When we started, obviously, like anything, we didn't have that much support.
Following,
but by the time we left here, there were a lot of people in this area that would definitely come and just have a great time at our show, and we would love to play for them because they were just always so welcoming and supportive about it.
That's awesome, man.
So when we do come back, and we only live 2 hours away now in Hudson Valley, so we do have this sense of like, wow, kind of being back home. In a way.
It's nostalgic almost.
It's only been like what a year or so. So it's nice. We always love playing shows here. And speaking of shows, unfortunately, we don't have any here lined up. I'd love to do some. Actually, we do have one coming up November 24th here.
Okay.
And it's kind of like unofficial, more like, get together type of thing. But
where's that going to be?
It's going to be a thing in Frankfurt, and it's not like exactly a venue. And I don't know, it's just kind of a hangout spot. So it might be like
DM us for details.
Yeah,
okay.
DM for details. Probably won't. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's one of the more private things. But we're playing in Massachusetts at a place called Bishop's Lounge. We played there with a band called Space Junk is Forever, and they're actually coming to the bank.
Oh, sweet.
That's how this whole thing really started with them. They're a great band. They're from, where are they from?
They're from Boston. I think that's where they're based, but Massachusetts.
So it's like a tight-knit community you guys have gotten yourself into.
Absolutely.
Inserted yourself into.
All these people, especially, I got to give a shout-out to the Copperman Clone guys, which Ryan and Rocco and Chaz, which is Adam, who's from...
Trampoline Jetstream.
So it's all interconnected. There's this circle of love,
and that's awesome. Supporting one another, teaching each other. Yeah, that's great. So now, obviously, two different style musicians, bassist, drummer, but with collaborative ideas. Ben, let's hear from you. Other than the local inspirations, which is obviously pretty staggering, as we could see, you guys have really got yourself into a nicely tight-knit community. What are some grand, large bands that you're really into now, or that kind of helped you get into this along the way? Major drummers that might have influenced you or anything like that. You have any off the top of your head?
Oh man, I mean the list can go on and on forever, because like we said when we started, it's just such a wide variety. Over time, being kind of not even just kind of being placed into this universe of music. Because our dad, he was always into so much stuff. I guess he's probably the number one kind of important influence of the way it started, because he literally kind of, I guess metaphorically, he pressed play on our life or something.
I remember your dad's band was super funk or purple funk.
Joe Mama and the Funk Daddies.
Joe Mama and the Funk Daddies.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah. That's awesome,
yeah,
dude.
so it goes way back, but
that's killer.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, man, I don't know. I can't even really go on name. There's so many things, I'll let you name stuff.
Yeah.
Well, he likes crazy stuff. There's this drummer named Tetsuya Yoshida, the Japanese guy who's beyond anything you're ever going to see. You're going to watch him and play and just be blown away.
Really?
Also, Neil Peart and
of
stuff.
Of course.
There's so many classic, amazing drummers, but a lot of the Greg Saunier is somebody from the band called Deerhoof.
Okay.
A lot of the bands that we like are kind of
a little more underground,
I was
but
gonna say underdog bands, but they're still they're known about. They have good fan bases, but they're awesome. Yeah, a lot of classic stuff too. There's so many in terms of bass players. You're saying Geddy Lee, Les Claypool, obviously Flea. I've been told that sound. Victor Wooten's always an inspiration.
And you get little bits of these guys and you intertwine it into your own style, into the energy you bring. And I was looking at, you guys can check out their Facebooks and just some of the clips that people post with you guys or record of you. And the energy you're bringing is, you're into it. You're not just oh, fuck, another gig, playing the notes.
Well,
you're into it.
It's hard to get away from for us because we leave our body in a way. You're just in this other world.
And it's pretty, at certain points, it's pretty demanding material. So you kind of need a lot of that focus and concentration. Whereas there's other times that are just more I guess jammy overall, and it's more of a mellow vibe. And so, like I said, a big variety all around.
Yeah, I appreciate that dynamic between Sun Colored Chair and Substance. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Entities.
Absolutely, yeah. And just going back to the fact that you said, anybody who starts out, you're not going to have a big fan base, but to the point now where you guys are recording your own work and you're putting out, you have other bands asking you for cover art and things like that. They're seeing your talent, your involvement, your immersion into the art,
Yeah, dude. I think everyone's all in the same boat too. When you're a creator, an artist, musician, photographer, we're all on the same level where we need to stick together, and there's a huge heart for support. You know what I mean? Everybody loves everybody. That's the best part about it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
I genuinely find such cool artists and musicians and stuff through what I do too.
Yeah.
So if what I do inspires somebody to take a step and say, "Oh, I want to be an artist. I want to draw because I see this guy can do this," and or musically inspire anybody, that's all I can hope for.
Yeah, same thing. As soon as I started this podcast, and it's been, I'll be honest, it's slow rolling. That's how it goes when you start these things. You can't expect to have thousands, millions of followers overnight.
Anything,
But to have just a few people come up to me and be like, "Man, dude, ever since I saw your show and it's simple enough to do. I want to start my own podcast." And I'm like, "Do it. Jump into it."
I mean, no matter how much fun it all seems, it is work because of the consistency of it.
That's it.
I feel like you can play something and feel special about it, or have a podcast and present it and love it so many times, but you have to do it enough times so that everybody who hasn't experienced that can experience it with the same joy and
the same
energy.
vigor that you bring into all of them. Yeah,
all of it. Yeah. So I feel like it's very important to keep that passion alive, no matter what it is, no matter what project you're involved in.
Absolutely.
You
Good
have
way
to
to put
present it like somebody's seeing this maybe for the first time, or it's somebody who hasn't, and they're following it and they they're adjusted to it already.
Exactly. And we're going back to the idea of, the multitude of guests I have, the multitude of styles you bring in all your different projects. It's you never know what's going to hook somebody. So you better hope that you bring 110% every time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I know we're going back to, I love talking about this album because it's so cool to see you guys in the area putting up original work. You said Ben would come up on some riffs and suddenly you're just kind of making some bass line to it and then the music flows. What are some other inspirations? How are you guys getting your songs written basically for this album?
I'll let him take the mic because this guy is, I think, profoundly amazing songwriter.
Awesome.
Overall.
I think it was really exciting because it's we knew Adam and Alex from Trampoline Gesture for it seemed like a long time, and it was kind of getting around to things we should write. We would get together and just jam all the time, like in Adam's basement or something. We would just jam, and there was a special kind of vibe in the room, we're all playing together and stuff, and we're like, oh man, we should just write stuff or we do stuff together.
Yeah.
Specifically with Alex, it's just after a while, it's just like, oh, we should do something, and then like it seemed like it never like really formulated, like nothing really came to fruition for a long time until he specifically kind of reached out and was like, I want to make certain experimental type of music. I just want to so we just started hanging out a lot more often. We would show him a lot of different music, show him influences and stuff, and he's just a great open-minded person. He absorbed all that stuff, and then
awesome.
It was just so exciting right then to be like, all right, well, just like and it was kind of right before we realized we were moving out of this area, so it was just kind of a very quick period of time. We were like, let's just really go crazy and just start like writing all of our energy out and just kind of, and that was where a lot of this inspiration came from. Just the new collaborative energy between us and Alex. It was
just
like,
getting on that same wavelength. You
Yeah,
guys are riding it.
Right. It just felt like the possibilities were pretty open. We're like, all right,
awesome.
Brand new project. We can just literally just do whatever we want off the bat. So
and it works well because you guys all have that same passion, the same desire, and a very similar taste in music. But I'm sure each one of you brings a little bit like, hey, let's change this or see if this works, and that's how you get good stuff. I'm excited to listen to the album.
Yeah, man. There's a charisma behind, I think, writing enough with somebody or being in the room or hanging out, like having adventures with somebody.
You learn their yin, and you got the yang.
Exactly. So like a lot of the time, it's like you're picking up somebody's sentence that they wrote half of, or
right.
You're finishing a thought, really.
That's awesome.
It's like an extension of a lot of the songs. It's like we kind of go in our own worlds and come up with something, and then we bring it to everyone else, and maybe that sparks something in the next guy who's like, oh, I definitely feel like we should add this,
and you could pivot off of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's very similar to talking in a situation like this. Yeah. I have like this many notes, and then I just come into it. I'm like, we're gonna keep it light and breezy. Any guest that comes in, they're usually. I have a lot of people who come in pretty nervous. I'm like, listen, here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna shoot the shit. Like, you ever shot the shit? Here it goes.
Conversation, man.
That's it, dude. And that's where people really get that kind of depth into your life. And that's what people want. And I love people who kind of inspired me to do this were obviously like Joe Rogan. I'm sure you've seen some of his podcasts.
Oh, yeah, dude,
and just like people like that. Neil deGrasse Tyson, very more astrological kind of thinker and things like that. It's just like, why not get out there and just talk with somebody, get your ideas, and express yourself.
The power of speaking with other people.
Exactly.
Is a huge thing, man.
Yeah, and you never know. And what I like to do is just reach out. I reached out to you guys. I'm like, you want to come on? Hell yeah. You're like, jump on in.
Yeah,
you might be a few hours away, but we're making it work.
Yeah.
What's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to say no? All right, on to the next. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
exactly.
I'm not losing any sleep over it. I don't make a penny off of any of this stuff.
Right, dude. But taking a chance, you do find that you meet cool people, and you know.
And I learned, people that I went to high school with. Like, I don't know if you remember Chris Micah.
Yeah.
Like I've known him my whole life. I've never even sat down and talked to the kid. We sat and had an hour and a half long conversation. Just, shooting the breeze. And I like get a newfound respect for him and what he does.
It's amazing.
And how hard it is to be like a DJ in his side and stuff.
It's like an even-ended thing where sharing and listening are so important.
Absolutely,
and
man.
When you do that, it's a ball game in itself.
Yeah,
and
each one of us is growing from that situation.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
We're growing right now, man.
Yeah, exactly. And it's killer, man.
So we thank you very much for
guys, thank you for
asking us,
coming on. I mean, it's awesome to have you here, and you can just tell the dynamic between you two is tight. Some brothers stray away, but you guys are a close-knit unit. Which leads me to my next question. Is it always sunshine and roses, or are there some difficulties and challenges?
There's definitely reality behind every situation.
Right.
You know what I mean? Every creative process has its stressors and stuff.
Right.
And we always try to get through, and I hope I'm not the worst fucking person to deal with.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, whatever, you do what you can in life. I mean, anybody you have to be around for an extended period of time, like you grow up with your family, and, sometimes you just go crazy, but whatever. I think ultimately we're really lucky that we have, because a lot of siblings can't even,
Right.
That strengths in it, though. I think it makes
it
stronger. Sometimes the distance of feeling like, oh, I need to get out of this fucking place.
Right.
And there's a song we wrote for Substance called "Ticket Out," and it's kind of like that rockin' song. It's exactly about that. Like, this might be my ticket out. I need to just invest in something and get away from
watch
these
it bloom.
negative feelings.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's good in a lot of ways too, at least because if all else fails, we always put our energy into what we do. Put it into the music, or he puts it into the art. Just any of that stuff, that's really the way to go. Even if there are bumps in the road occasionally, but it's nothing,
right.
It's nothing that's not normal.
It's nothing unrecoverable, right? You're not going to have a falling out and break up like freaking Aerosmith or something.
I'd be worried about the brothers that never argued.
Yeah, that's true.
What's wrong with them?
Right, because it's it's all a facade and it's just surface deep interactions.
Exactly.
But you guys have something deep enough to where you can resonate with one another, make that beautiful music and things that you really appreciate.
So I definitely appreciate this guy.
That's awesome, man.
It's
a beautiful thing to see.
He's got new video out too for his solo project. He makes fucking amazing music.
What's the solo project?
he does this thing called Vescent Soreness, and I think it's delicious.
All right. What is it? What's it called again?
It's called Vescent Soreness.
Okay.
So just kind of
Vescent
made up
Soreness.
gibberish, but yeah. I just got my first video out for that, so that was just kind of an
YouTube?
interesting endeavor. Yeah, it's on YouTube. If you want to look up Vescent Soreness in between spaces, it's just a quick 1.5-minute song. But I got a new album coming out for that project. We always have so many.
Awesome.
He's got a project of his own called Zodar G.
Okay.
So he's got like
'Cause
40
Zodar is the
or
artist
50
name, right?
albums. He's got a massive discography.
That's
so.
awesome, dude.
So, but yeah, no, we have put our time towards so many different projects. Sometimes I just like kind of forget. It's like, oh yeah, we're kind of just like splitting ourselves into all these different avenues of like creative
You
expression.
can always come back to, right? You know?
There's always something to do.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. When you're creating, there's always something else.
Yeah.
There's always going to be more inspiration around the corner. A lot of the time. I mean, sometimes you feel like you run astray with that. You're like,
Right.
it feels dull. But, for us, we're lucky enough to have all these, because anything can inspire,
So now, where are you guys doing your recording? A predominant amount of it?
We
At home.
We do it at home.
You got your own studio
We have-
built and everything.
Like that interface you have, but we recently just got like an 8-channel interface that's
Awesome.
beautiful for like miking up all the drums. We've never done that before. We
Awesome.
always working with less mics, and so things are changing. The production style changes every day. He always learns more.
Our bedrooms and our garage, and it's always been that way, or our basement or whatever it is. But yeah, no, we've never really been to too many studios or done too much like working professionally with an engineer or anything. It's really all on our own accord.
And you're learning so much from that,
basically
obviously.
it's all
Yeah.
we're winging it the whole time. But
Right.
people are saying we're getting good results.
Right.
So I think the more you go on, the more you get a knack for these type of things.
Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons why I took a little bit of a hiatus from Lost Guidance here, is because that intro you heard, I wrote and did all that myself. I produced all this, helped
tight,
come up
man.
with the cover art, and a huge thanks to Carly Wright, who helped produce all this stuff. And this is a banner made by Jesse Pratt. I've been meeting all these people who inspire me and give me different avenues of creativity, and so I'm learning too, so I can definitely resonate with you.
And I think there's a magic behind homemade creativity.
Because you learn every aspect of it, and it's not like you feel a little bought out or cheap when somebody's doing it for you.
Right, yeah, and I feel like there's a way to connect to that way more than something that's very polished.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When it's that
Right, and I'm
independent
sure when
vibe.
you're hearing your own music, you get this fucking visceral feeling like, dude, I made every bit of this myself.
Yeah, man, and well, the thing is too, like when you listen back, it's like you can tell that it's homemade, but when you're listening to it and thinking this is made at home, like damn,
Right.
So it's a bit of both, and
Yeah.
it keeps that consistency of the magic. That
There's now that podcast that came out. It's called I forgot what it's called, but it's all about like the Midtown and all the different artists that recorded in bathrooms and all the
Oh,
great
yeah,
hits
dude.
that came from being in a bathroom because the
tile.
acoustics were so good,
the, the sound, bouncing
Yeah,
off the tile,
and the
yeah.
kind of the reverberation that you're getting from that, and it's just like you never know where the good music's going to come. You can do it
Exactly.
at home, and some people I feel like maybe are intimidated by that, like, I have this project, I like music, or I want to do a podcast, but I don't have the means, the space to do it. You can
Right.
do it. All you need is a kitchen table,
Yeah.
and a little bit of time and hard work, and
And the
you
thing
can
is,
make it.
if you maybe don't have those things for now, keep that thought in your mind.
Right.
And like, there's nothing wrong with coming up with an idea
Yeah.
and building it and thinking about what it could be, and then working towards it. That's what it is. It is all, at the end of the day, this is all work.
Right.
And we spend like sleepless nights some nights coming up with material and recording it.
Yeah.
And, because it's a passion. It's a drive that keeps you going.
How many years of just kind of practicing, playing instruments before you guys realized, let's put together our own project here?
Well, like I said, we started out with our dad, and like I said, that was about 7 years ago. And even before that, we were always playing and stuff. I've been playing drums from when I was really little, and he picked up bass when I think 15. So that's really when he was 15, I think we started doing the Substance project. And then slowly over time, it's like I only ever knew how to play drums, but then I think when I was about a freshman in high school, I started picking up guitar and bass and a little bit of keys and stuff, and trying to learn other aspects of how to play, melodically, make
More
music
music theory and
music
all that.
theory, exactly. And that was a big part of me, like, kind of opening up in myself and realizing, what it is that like I wanted to achieve musically, being like a songwriter or whatever.
Right.
And I guess, similar stuff was going on for him. He was just working on bass and stuff for a long time, and we were, doing the Substance thing. So then eventually it just kind of turned into that, the whole.
Yeah, and to bring up more projects because it's endless for us. Mud Moths was like an early thing that we did that was the beginning of like, okay, let's try to make creativity and make albums, and it's very much so like
The Mud Mods, I like that.
you got to start somewhere type
Right.
of thing. And the creativity was flowing, but we're learning obviously as we go. When you start, the first time you do anything, you got to expect that that's a beginning thing.
Right.
It's never going to be
It's not gonna be
what you
polished.
imagine exactly.
Yeah.
You really do have to work to that level. And
no diamond comes out of the ground looking like it should go into a ring.
yeah,
you know
but
what I mean?
and I would also say never get discouraged if you come up with something and you're like, oh, you feel like it was complete crap, because whoever the creator is always their worst critic.
Right, that's true.
You know?
But you should look at that. I hope somebody, and I think this comes with artists, you're your greatest critic and everything, but whenever you finish that, you feel like, like this sigh of relief, like I got it off my chest, here it is, the finished product I made, whatever it is, a podcast, a song, a piece of artwork, I made it. And going back, you'll probably look at it in a week and be like, I wish I didn't do it this way or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's
well, that's why
growth.
that reassurance is so touching and so deep to somebody who created, because you're seeing the ins and outs. You saw how it was made, so you're thinking, oh man, this was lazy and this probably
Yeah.
But somebody else might hear like, wow, how did you make this sound, or
That's
how
true.
did you coordinate such a podcast? Because you never know where it's coming from, and I think the viewer on the outside is I think you're more easily amazed or more affected when you don't necessarily know the secrets behind it all.
That's it.
So keep that in mind.
And it's
too.
very interpretational too, don't you feel? It's like, what I see in your artwork and the songs that you put out had your feeling behind it, but that's not going to resonate the same way with everybody, obviously. And they'll be able to, however their life's going, the dynamic they're feeling at the time, that's how it's going to resonate with them. So
yeah, if you're an artist, if you're a creator, I mean, I think you know what it's like to put your soul into something and to actually have it. You feel like
Totally.
it's you're manifesting that
Yeah.
exact part of you. And there's many ways to do it, But yeah, ultimately, that's what like we said earlier. It's all about having it's important to have a community of artists where you feel like those type of people can like bond and work together
and bounce ideas
yeah,
off
exactly.
one another. That's awesome that you
Yeah,
guys got
always
into it.
support your fellow artist or musician.
That's one of my hashtags I put on every one of my posts is support your local artist.
Yeah, exactly.
Artists supporting artists, things like that.
That's the way to do it, man. Because at the end of the day, we have to be there for each other to keep that inspiration flowing.
And you know what? You think of all the great bands. AC/DC didn't just start out on a stage in a stadium.
Absolutely.
They started at bars.
Yeah.
And people went out to see them a lot and enjoyed
they
their
had
music.
to have at least a good amount of people saying you guys are awesome to encourage them to want to
Absolutely.
be as big of an entity as they were.
And that's the importance of going out and seeing these local artists as well, and listening to
never know.
albums like this, and doing a deep dive into some of the local scene. And that's where you find gems. I was out at the Thaw the Lake Fest out in Ithaca this past spring, and this band, I don't know if you ever heard of them, they're called the Swamp Kids. They had this killer sound. To the point where I was in a bar not even paying attention. This drummer starts singing. He's got this freaking awesome sound. I turn right around and I'm like, holy fuck, what am I listening to? And now I'm in. I'm following all their stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, if I hadn't been in that bar that day, I'd have never known they
So
existed.
taking the chance is always a good thing in some
Right,
sense,
right.
Because you never know. It's always when you least expect it too.
That's it.
And to me, that's the best part of it.
And those are the instances where you're finding the things that you truly love. You're like, man, I'm obsessed with this band lately, and it just
Speaking
came
of
on.
taking a chance, I think one of the other bands that was mentioned and stuff was Tech X or Technical Ecstasy, and they're a really cool like raw punk band from the Rome, New York area.
Awesome.
And they invited us to a show one night in Syracuse in a basement, and we were like, I don't know, should we do this? Because it was one of those things. But it was like, I'm so glad we did, because
Right.
it opened a door and a huge relationship. Big shout out to Malcolm and Andrew and Roger, the guys doing it. Awful Knaufel is another band that's related to the Rochester scene.
That's awesome.
That
man.
Roger's in. It's like there's all these little scenes are all connected.
Oh yeah.
So more power to everybody out there doing their thing. Super inspiring to
That's
meet
killer.
these people.
And you
with
could
a
tell
similar
how
drive.
humble you guys are and sharing the love and recognizing greatness within the group. Even if others don't see it yet, you see it, and that's kind of important to facilitate each
Yeah.
other's dreams,
It's important, definitely, to just keep it flowing for everybody.
So I kind of want to go back into a little bit of your process of creating your artwork, if we can. Just because I know it's
Absolutely.
obviously you're creating here. Do you do it all like CGI and Photoshop? Or are you sketching, scanning? How do you do that?
So it's a little bit of everything, and mostly what I do is just black marker on paper. you
Really?
know? And I could send you, and obviously you'll post up and have different variations.
yeah.
There's a lot of different versions, kind of that style in itself. But then, like with more recently, there's a poster I made pretty recently. Take that style, take that approach of just drawing something and then scanning it in and trying to color it digitally and giving it that digital appeal.
Yeah.
Very seldom do I actually draw on a pad or something, or like on a tablet. But I think that's also helpful techniques.
Yeah.
every way you do it comes out a little different. There's a certain magic to each process.
That's it. It's got this very how do I put it? It's a cross between almost like cartoonized, like fictional, but and like kind of like a hallucinogenic aspect to it, and it's really cool. And the colors are so vibrant too. You know, that's what kind of grasps you.
That's definitely one thing I always wanted with those tight, vibrant colors. That's kind of why I was turning to digital, even though I feel like I still don't do it a justice in terms of how, you know, the appropriate approach to how color is applied.
Right.
But I always kind of did it my own way, so
Right.
it came out in this slightly different way, you know.
Yeah.
And to me, it's inspiring to just sit down and draw one fluid thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm making a poster for a band, it's like I'm going to draw these elements separate, and I'm going to, you know, scan them in separately so that, say, somebody's like, oh, could you just, you know, scoot that Darth Vader down or scoot this little image of this, like, leprechaun down, and I just need that smaller so you can put the title in, you know, way easier to work with in a digital platform when somebody wants to make, say, last minute
But it's
changes.
not as fluid, you're saying, kind
Well,
of?
no, I would say there's still a fluidity to it in a way, but it's a different fluidity.
Right.
What I really appreciate, though, is those moments when I can sit down and just let something come out start to finish,
That's
whether
awesome.
it's like a few hours or a few days like that I work on it. But those tend to be the more psychedelic ones because everything's connected in a lot of ways.
Right, yeah, and it's where your mind is kind of traveling.
A lot of it is very abstract in some way, but I never try to define what it is. When it's coming out, it's coming out. And music definitely very much goes hand in hand. Like when I'm drawing and I'm listening to something, I'm hearing the music way more intensely, like active listening, because I'm calm. I'm just sitting there and I'm like, all right, I gotta fill in this amount of space. You know, that's gonna take 45 minutes or something, just doing this for a while.
Right.
So your brain is kind of zoning out.
Right.
And the song comes so much more fluidly. I notice pieces that I had never noticed in a song before, just because my brain's in a different piece of focus, in a different space.
Yeah, yeah.
So listening and experiencing drawing, like
That's awesome, man.
I think anyone who's drawn and you know.
That's kind of one of the
music,
allures to it, is the disconnect of your brain for a little while, just kind of absorb into something.
Same thing being live.
Yeah, well, I love your artwork, so I'm hoping maybe we can do a little collaboration for some LGP work.
Absolutely,
I'm
I'm
put up in the
always
studio here. That'd be killer.
I would love to do that. Yeah.
So, talking back about, you know, just kind of the fluidity and the transitions of it. Do you guys find that you just let it roll, then you come back and record? Maybe Ben, if you want to give some insights on this, or do you often record your jam sessions, then go back and try to recreate, or do you let it flow? And
yeah,
then see
we've
if you
done
can
stuff like
reproduce?
that before. I mean, a lot of it honestly just comes from sitting down at an instrument and playing and coming up with song ideas or coming up with riffs and the voice memos on our phones. Just really, that's really what we utilize a lot of the time, is just kind of starting with one thing and then it ends up being connected. Sometimes you have two separate ideas from, you know, different times, and you like don't even realize, you're like, oh wait, I could just combine those, and that creates the most, you know, fluidity right there.
Right.
But it's always something different. Like there's no like one set way to you know, there's no like formula as to how everything comes to be when we make like a song or an album. Or
That's cool, because you have these different techniques, and it's not like
for
you're,
sure.
you know, I think once bands get into a very scripted style of
Yeah,
making
it's like
music,
calculated or whatever.
it's almost like bands like Volbeat. They're very cookie cutter, or like Creed or something. Some bands that
Sure,
get
yeah,
really
yeah.
famous, and it's just like, all right, how many times can you hear? You know what I mean? It's when that's when you're losing the musicality and the emotion behind it, and when I'm like detached from your songs.
Yeah, because a lot of people want those formulaic aspects, especially if it's gonna be like for a certain thing for, you know, radio, it's gotta be a certain way.
Right.
But that's why there's a whole other music of like the whole other world of music. Like
Right.
it's just huge, expansive. We'll never even know all of it.
For sure.
So it's just like you could just explore and go on and on forever, or as much as you're comfortable. Like that's why it's so crazy to just have, you know, be able to make stuff for ourselves. It's really
Hell yeah,
exciting.
And that's one thing I always admired about the Dead too, the Grateful Dead, is because
For sure, yeah.
most of their shows they have two parts. The first part is we'll play all the songs you guys like,
Yeah, both
and then the
sets.
next part we're just gonna jam for hours. And if you don't like it, hit the bricks.
spacey.
You know, yeah, just having fun and really getting into their musical element. And I don't know, how do you guys feel about John Mayer being the cover man there? I think he's been doing a tremendous job.
Oh yeah, dude, definitely. I haven't seen him yet in their lineup, but my parents went to see him and they said it was, you know.
I think he
Definitely
brings a lot of
really
good aspects of Jerry Garcia's
Yeah,
style
and
to
he
it.
has a good energy. I
Yeah,
think, too.
for sure.
But speaking of the Dead and their style too, I love the fluidity and kind of the fearlessness sometimes of those jams. That's definitely a scene that we relate to, is the jam band scene.
Yeah.
Even though we never really considered ourselves to be in like a jam. We definitely jammed, but we didn't ever think we were much of a jam band.
Right.
But I think the most jam band-esque is substance.
Is it?
Because there's a lot of, here's the songs, written pieces, and then when we get to a certain point, we're going to jam until we know that here's the cue, we're going to transition. But within that time, you don't know how long it's going to go. You don't know what you're going to do.
It's awesome.
But that to me, when I was listening back, always was the best part. Because you're just revved up on this energy, and then you leave. You just don't know where you are, and you just, maybe you got a key.
Let it fly, baby.
Key that you're in or something, but ultimately it's something that comes from outside you that's channeled through you. It's like this energy of the moment. I always say that's a big transfer of energy when you have an audience and a performance.
Absolutely, and
It's
they're
a
feeding
cycle.
off of
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
So
and it's got to
that's
be
so
great to be
important.
able to do that with your dad too, who's got this
Yeah,
experience,
absolutely.
and you're all just have this familial energy, but also this like independent appreciation for one another, for your own work, and so it's all these different angles that you can
Yeah.
put onto this
We're
as to
glad
why
you
this is
appreciate it.
successful.
Yeah, thanks, dude. And definitely there's a certain blood energy between being like in a family, there's this connected. We don't have to say anything a lot of times, we're just going to rehearse. No words were discussed. We just went in the room. We knew what we were going to do. It was no question of what song was going to be played.
That's awesome.
You hear him tease a note or something. We're like, okay, this is going to be it.
You guys have done that. You just walk in, one of you starts playing, the others just keep
Yeah.
pick it
and then-
up.
And then we
That's
end up,
cool.
We end up practicing the whole set, not with no set list or anything. It just
I'd like to
the
see a
songs
video of
happen.
that. If one of you walks in, starts something, the next one walks in, picks it up and keeps going, and then the third
Yeah.
one walks. That'd be cool. That's every day.
That's every day. I think
You guys got to
jamming,
post
yeah.
some live videos of that shit. And
Absolutely.
I will
We-
support the hell out of
We've
it.
definitely been trying to get out there more with the video thing in
Yeah.
terms of like, hey, here's just us playing in our room, fuck it,
People love that.
yeah, things that we're maybe like, oh, we're not confident in the moment, but we got to realize just when you're in your element, not caring and just being in your room and you're not focused on the distractions of a live element, there's some magic that flows through. So.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
I love both,
Yeah.
I love being on both sides of the fence too.
I think you can learn from both too,
Yeah.
And I have a limited musical arsenal. I played sax for like 7 years. I still
dude.
got one. I still jam
that's
on it.
awesome though too.
I've been picking up the keys a bit here and guitar, but like you said, my neighbor downstairs, he's a drummer, and he's been on with the Ankle Busters paintball team. And we get together some nights, and he'll just start jamming on the drums, and I'll bring up my sax, and we'll just let it flow.
Dude, that's
and then,
the best thing about
and you
jams.
learn from each other.
Absolutely. The best way to learn is through other musicians too, or just other
Absolutely.
people jamming.
Absolutely, and you just feel like you said, that transfer of energy. It's very cyclical, and it keeps you going. You're like, oh, he's doing this. Here we go.
Yeah, the important thing about jams too, I always felt like, is welcome a variety of people. You might be jamming with somebody who's never jammed before,
Yeah.
never even picked up an instrument, but there's a beauty behind somebody learning how to play through that, because it's confidence. I feel like when everybody's in the room just improvising, nobody's saying,
Yeah,
then I feel like there should be a freedom. Let it be as raw as it
Right.
can be when
Right.
you're starting.
What's
because-
the worst that could happen?
Exactly. You hit a wrong note, but like when you're jamming and coming up and stuff, you find out like, wow, there are no wrong notes.
Right.
It's just a different, it's just
Yeah.
defined differently. If it
Yeah.
was in a different context, like, say film music where it gets all scary and there's all these dense harmonies,
Yeah.
we'd be like, oh, wow.
That was the right note.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are the perfect notes, so
That's cool.
it's all context.
So I'll start with Quinn. We'll move to Ben quick. Give you guys each a chance to answer this. A lot of different aspects go into this, especially making your own album, the different projects that you're doing. What's one of the more technical sides that you've had troubles with? Is it the promotion? Is it the unifying of the sound? Is it giving names to the songs? What do you think is the most difficult for you, Quinn?
Okay, most difficult. Yeah, it's tough overall when you mention those things. Like the social media side of it is definitely difficult. But for me, I think mixing and learning how to make something sound good, and being homemade.
Audio editing and
Yeah,
all that.
definitely learned so much more about that over the years.
Of course.
That has been a struggle for me at the beginning. I could never make stuff. It sounded good as I was coming up with it, but then more layers got added and it just got lost.
Right.
So I've been learning more how to separate the sound and get it to come out how you heard it, the idea that was envisioned originally,
Awesome.
you know?
What about you, Ben?
Sometimes, I think this applies to both of us, but sometimes it could be difficult finding the exact performance that you want to give on a recording specifically. I mean, whereas you're playing live, you really only get one chance.
shot, yeah.
But, I don't know. There's a number of things that I guess could be defined as difficult, but at this point, really, it's just, desensitized to all that stuff. It just feels like this is the process you're in, and it's a very, so it's hard to say if there's ever any, like, difficulties or successes based off of it's just kind of like, almost like, just you're going about the motions in your process, like your day or something. Every time we record something, it's something that we've done so often that, it feels like it's very real quick though. I just want to promote, if I can plug, to speaking of social media, I just want to say follow Sun Colored Chair and Substance both on
Oh yeah,
Instagram.
we'll have all your guys' links and everything when this episode goes up for sure. I mean, you'd be missing out if you guys didn't check out some of their artwork and some of their music, and even just some of the jam videos that I was talking about earlier that people post for you.
You could see good clips of Sun Colored Chair on our Instagram, so definitely head over there and follow us.
That's awesome, man. So where do you guys see this band going in the next? We'll start with 5 years and then 10 years. Where do you hope it goes? Do you think you'll start a new project, or you want this to adapt or start a new genre? What are you thinking?
Well, we always have, I think, a lot of equal hope for all the projects that we have. Sun Colored Chair specifically, I think it started as just being hopeful to try to write as much as we could, and then this past summer we really launched it as a live band. So we got some of the first gigs we've ever had this past summer. And
Nail Creek, right?
Yeah,
You
Nail
played?
Creek, definitely.
Awesome.
And it kind of blew up pretty quickly in terms of, we got these gigs, kind of faster. And, it has its ups and downs where you get gigs and it cools off and stuff. So we're in that phase now of really just wanting to get out there as much as we can live.
Get your name out there.
Practice the tight 3-piece entity. We're involved in a few different other projects too, keeping those alive.
So just building yourself in the live scene.
Yeah, basically. We got to give a special shout out to that band that we mentioned earlier, Space Junk is Forever. They're based out of Boston. But that guy Jordan Holt, he's helped us by giving us a lot of gigs and things like that, and just kind of promoting a little bit for us, and which is good. It's always good to keep that like kind of communal aspect going,
sure.
Between the different bands and stuff. So he's somebody who's done a lot for us so far.
Well, yeah, another important shout out while I'm thinking about it is Matt Stober of In Dream View. He's somebody who makes really great music, and it's important because we're going to be his backing band.
Oh, cool.
It's going to be Sun Colored Chair, and we're pretty much going to be playing his music.
It's like music that we were very inspired by.
It's a dream come true.
That's awesome.
Definitely, yeah, for sure. But there's a lot of people. I mean, we could just go on because so many people help our vision to become exactly what it is.
Right.
Through just us, knowing people, like I said, communally. That's like pretty much one of the most kind of crucial aspects that you can have if you're a creator of any kind.
Totally. That's a good lesson for people to take away from this too, is that the importance of not just trying to be Mr. I made it myself. And I would be nothing here if I didn't have, Z, you guys know, mutual friend Z Donaldson. If I didn't have him inspiring me, or my friend Bowie, kicking me in the ass and saying, dude, you should do a podcast if you want to do it. You have the ability to do it.
We need the support.
You need people out there telling you you're doing good and giving you that help and giving you those avenues to otherwise express yourself in different platforms. I've gone on the Disruption Network a few times. I've communicated with different people in different ways. So it's just really interesting to see.
It's important
support.
to give that too. Always
Absolutely.
be giving your support, showing it.
I will never tell somebody not to do something. And one of my friends came up to me and goes, dude, I was kind of thinking of starting a podcast, and I don't know, are you gonna be mad at that? I'm like, why in the hell would I be mad at that?
No, man.
I was like, start it. I was like, come on mine, tell everybody about yours, and then I'll go on yours and tell everybody about mine. You know what I mean? It's mutual. It's better for everybody.
Exactly. That's why we'll share and make posts of this. And
I appreciate it.
We
likewise.
appreciate it too. And in terms of seeing where things will go, we're open. And really, the most we can hope for is that people would invest in maybe seeing this band and being like, "Oh, wow, this is cool. Let's give them a gig here, and give us the activity,
Absolutely.
get the work, really, because it's nice to make what you can off of it. We never viewed it as like, oh, we have to make as much money as possible because it was our passion. But as time goes on, you see how important it is, the survival, the need for it.
Yeah.
So if people are willing, those donations mean so much.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, and it all reciprocates into the fact that you're going to make better music with better equipment, and it's just going to keep upping.
When somebody's that affected, it's like there's no question they want to support it as much as they can. When you see a good band or hear a good podcast, you're like, I'm so in.
Exactly.
I need to be in on it.
And I love that aspect. And in the local area, it's ever more important because, like we were saying, nobody becomes the biggest hit sensation playing stadiums overnight.
No, exactly.
So do you guys only do exclusively your own music? Do you get some covers in there as well to kind of throw it around and get people absorbed, I should say?
So with Sun Colored Chair, we haven't. We've been very kind of strictly like, original composition. Substance, though, we did a good amount of covers. We were doing, things, for variety. We were doing Bob Dylan tunes sometimes.
Cool.
Sometimes we'd play the, what'd you say? Funkadelic tunes, yeah.
Funkadelic.
We, I can't think of it. We played like the Stones sometimes too. We'll play some like real.
That's cool.
We play the ones maybe that you want to hear, but also we'd like to choose those ones that are not the most expected, but it's still like, oh, I love this song. I forgot about it.
Right, no friggin' Sweet Caroline or nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So we're keeping it on a level that's in between.
I don't know if you guys know Our Common Roots. They're a local band.
Yeah, I've heard of
they
them,
played at Saranac Thursday, and I had Ryan Flynn on, who also went to Sequoia with us, and it was kind of he gave a good explanation. It's like we love to. They have their own album out as well recently, Satire Circus, I believe it's called.
Cool.
And I loved when people started like walking away to the beer tents and staring and I was watching deliberately to see like their transitions and stuff, they'd play a few of their songs, get a huge reaction, a mediocre reaction, and then like as you see people start fiddling away to the beer tents and shit, they bring on one that's like not as well heard, but well, you know, they know who sings it. It's
Right.
a cover, but they jam out in their own way, whether
Right,
it's
exactly.
a Sublime song or a Grateful Dead song. Everybody comes thrown back to the stage. Then you hook them on another one of your original songs. They're like, whoa, who wrote this? Oh, they wrote this, you know? And it's
Yeah.
kind of like a really cool equation that everybody's got to
absolutely.
figure out for themselves, you know? So I'm sure you guys are seeing this as you're transitioning your own what's working, what's not working, and where it's going to go.
Yeah, no, there's a lot to it. I think it's constantly a struggle to find a fine line between keeping a passion that you love, you know, following your vision, and also, you know, satisfying what people want to hear.
Exactly.
So,
And
including everybody.
You want to, like you said, you want to give everybody that experience and that you got to know you only get one shot here. So you want to make sure you're
Absolutely.
doing the performance that they're going to enjoy and leave there and say, you know, that was awesome. Like I said, seeing Annie in the Water at Lucan's last year, I was hooked. You know, I actually think it was there that they brought Rainbow on stage.
Yeah.
And he freaking sang a whole song in Cambodian
Wow.
beautifully.
That's awesome.
I have it somewhere on my Instagram. I'll have to repost that.
Dude, actually, we've had Substance. We were playing a gig, and he's come up multiple times, but we were playing this song, and we kind of transitioned into one of our songs from this other project, Wix's, and it was funny in all that moment, and then Rainbow came on with the saxophone upside down, and he played along to the whole song, and it was like, sounded so cool, because, you know, it was already so weird, and it was like, perfect.
That is nuts, man.
Yeah, I love that, the mascot. Of
Yeah,
that.
the mayor of Utica.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. Well, I mean, it seems like you guys have a great understanding of who you are. You have this independence in you. You have this artistic fury, for lack of a better word, that you're not going to let extinguish. And you're able to feed off one another and give each other hope, positivity, as well as all these awesome people that you've given shout outs to. And it's just really inspiring to see two younger guys, you know, in my generation out here working hard at doing something they really love and producing good content for people, because that's what I'm about. And that's what I'm doing.
Likewise,
you know?
man.
Yeah,
Much respect.
Thank
for-
you.
for doing what
Absolutely,
you're doing,
guys.
man.
So go ahead, give a bunch of plugs. Tell everybody where to find your art, Quinn, where to follow you guys, all your different projects again. Go through any dates you have coming up for your father's acoustic gigs as well. Go ahead, let it rip.
Absolutely. So I think for art, I'll start with that. The best way is Instagram and Facebook. You got at Zodar Artistry. That's going to be my Instagram tag there. And it's all over Facebook. I'm always making posts about like the posters. It's how you found out about it.
Yep.
It's always good to give an update. I'm like, here's what I got so far of 2019 that I've done primarily for bands. I do sticker designs, all kinds of stuff. So always, you know, hit me up for that. Pretty much for the band stuff, you know, Substance, we don't have many things going on. There's probably going to be a taster coming up through Big Blue North Studios. Eventually, we might do some of that. Sun Colored Chair, we have these up to coming gigs I'll let Ben tell you about. And the only other thing on our agenda is we'll slip that in there. Wix has got a record deal, actually, to create a record through Zadok. You know, John Zorn. He's somebody who's
Okay.
very well-known name. And so that's going to keep us busy for the winter, too.
Awesome.
So always got stuff going on.
Right.
And, so that's, you know, everything is on Instagram and Facebook, really.
That's
you know.
where to find
You can
it.
find us on YouTube.
And
as
I'll
well.
throw the links all into the description for the episode, guys. You can find it below.
I'll let Ben tell you all about Sun Colored Chair, where you can find that.
Yeah, and again, your solo project, go ahead and plug it up.
Well, so basically for Sun Colored Chair, we have we're playing with that band Space Junk again at a place called Bishop's Lounge in Northampton, Massachusetts. That's going to be on Wednesday, November 20th. And then there's on the 24th, also of November,
Semi-official.
there's a semi-official show going on at the bank in Frankfurt, but, you know, DM us on our Instagram for details, which leads me to my next point. Definitely would love some more followers and love on Instagram always. It's the best for Sun Colored Chair and Substance. So, yeah, you know, check those out. In terms of our dad's gigs, I think he's also got one in Massachusetts coming up in Pittsfield. It's the acoustic stylings of Cozy Joe Monroe.
Cool.
Rock the Casbah, too.
Yeah, Rock the Casbah in Saugerties, New York. That's where we live now.
Okay.
I think he's doing November 2nd. And then at Pittsfield, Mass is...
I just went to Pittsfield for the first time ever, like a month ago. It's freaking beautiful there, man. There's
Dude,
this
it's
little state park. I don't know if you guys get out there too much, but just cruising around in this little state park entrance, you start realizing you're meandering upward. All of a sudden, you come into a clearing on the mountainside. I swear to God, I drive the 3.5 hours just to have lunch there. It's a beautiful place.
Massachusetts is beautiful. Yeah,
I know.
I've been-
So that's just one reason among many to go see.
I only just started going there, like recently. Now we live so close because we're down in the Hudson Valley. It's just like, oh yeah, we just drive an hour and we're there.
Scoot.
We're right in Pittsburgh.
That's
yeah.
awesome, man.
So yeah, but yeah, that's the stuff that's coming up basically for the most part.
Yeah, and as for that love, it's like it's love and support, but there's definitely an adventure too. Like anybody who decides to follow along, be pleasantly surprised with the band. For me, I mean, I get to stand on stage with this guy and Alex Verbicus, who are two of the most crazy and insane and most talented musicians that I know. So I'm having my mind blown just watching what they
awesome.
can do. So it's a thrill, it's a pleasure, and keep your eyes out for all these projects, I guess.
That's awesome, guys. So I mean, folks, you're seeing, if you come check these guys out, you're in for a high octane show. They have their new album. Let's see.
The Birth of the Sun.
The Birth of the Sun. I had it written down. I couldn't find it.
That's the last thing I'll say. Here, can I just get this from you? Yeah, the last thing I'll say is, suncoloredchair.bandcamp.com. We would really appreciate some more CD sales. These are very nice CDs. They're $10, so that would be great because we'll ship them out to you right away. We're pretty quick, and we go to the post office every other day, so won't be a problem.
They come with stickers, folks. So
yeah, free stickers. So
guys,
definitely buy that CD.
I mean, I'm going to be a huge supporter
Yeah.
a long time. Just stay with it. Stay with the dream, and that's what everybody needs. That continuous supporting of one another and everything. And thank you so much for coming on and
thanks
sharing.
for having us.
Absolutely. I'm sure you'll be seeing these guys again soon, either at their shows or on another episode of Lost Guidance, whatever it may be. So check them out. Social media, check out their new album, give it a listen. Check out Ben's solo projects, Quinn's solo projects, and his artwork. Give their dad some love. Give Substance some
Absolutely.
love. So that's what it's about, folks. Nobody's successful. You won't have this local scene if you're not out there supporting it. So it's just great to see that you guys have such passion, and it'll be awesome to see where you go in the years to come.
Awesome.
So thank you, everybody, for listening. Try not to get lost out there. Enjoy your weekend,
Take
and stay
care.
tuned for more Lost Guidance
Thank
Season
you,
2.
guys.